It was supposed to be a routine exploration mission. I had been assigned to Elythra 7, a planet that looked like a cross between a rainforest and a neon dream. Luminescent plants swayed in the breeze, their soft light reflected in pools of water scattered across the terrain. My job was simple: catalog flora, monitor wildlife, and avoid unnecessary interactions with the indigenous species. Easy enough. I hadn't planned on becoming a hero. Not today. The first sign of trouble was a shriek, a high-pitched, almost musical wail that pierced the calm of the forest. It was so sharp, so desperate, that it made me freeze in place. My training kicked in, and I scanned the area with my portable sensors. A tiny figure struggled in the middle of a shallow but rapidly swirling pool. Its body was no larger than a human toddler, but the glowing golden skin and delicate limbs marked it unmistakably as alien. Its arms flailed wildly, and I could see it was sinking fast. I didn't think. Ran. The translator in my suit picked up faint vocalizations, a language I didn't understand. But urgency transcends words. Every instinct told me that without immediate action, the creature wouldn't make it. The water was colder than I expected, and the current stronger. I dove in without hesitation, reaching the tiny alien just in time. My hands grasped its frail torso, lifting it above the water as it coughed and sputtered in a chorus of musical shrieks. The alien froze the moment it realized it was no longer drowning. Its enormous eyes, two perfect golden orbs, stared at me in shock. I could see the realization dawning in them. It hadn't expected rescue. No one ever helped her. I held her gently. "It's okay," I said softly, activating the translator. "You're safe now. I've got you." The water dripped from her tiny body, creating faint iridescent ripples. Slowly, she sat up in my hands, trembling and clutching my fingers. "My human," she whispered in halting words, as if the concept itself was impossible. "Yes," I said. "You're okay now. I saved you." Her golden eyes shimmered, reflecting a mixture of gratitude, disbelief, and something darker. Fear, I realized. She flinched as I moved, though I hadn't threatened her. I didn't expect," she trailed off. "You didn't expect help?" Asked gently. She shook her head. "No one ever helps me. Small. Weak. Not like the others." I realized then that this wasn't just a chance encounter. It was a pattern. The tiny alien, who I would come to know as Lyra, had been overlooked, ignored, even scorned by her own species. Her small size, delicate frame, and luminescent skin made her different in a society that valued strength, symmetry, and dominance. "You're strong in ways they can't see," I said. "And I can see you." For the first time, her gaze softened. I set her on the shore, letting her feet touch solid ground. She looked down at herself, at the wet skin clinging to her thin limbs, then back up at me. "You see me?" she asked, voice trembling. "Yes," I said. "And you're alive because I decided to act. That's all that matters right now." She didn't respond for a long moment. Then, hesitantly, she reached up and touched my suit, as if confirming I was real. "Why would a human care?" she asked. Shrugged. "Because sometimes, doing the right thing doesn't need a reason." Over the next few days, I stayed close to Lyra, helping her recover. I named her that because her own name was difficult for human tongues, and she smiled faintly at the choice. Slowly, I began to learn her story. Lyra had been part of a tiny social minority in her community. Alien children who didn't fit the dominant ideals of beauty and strength. She had been shunned, ignored, and even mocked for her size and delicate glow. The more I listened, the more I realized that her near drowning wasn't an accident. It was the consequence of neglect. No one had checked if she was okay. No one had thought she could survive on her own. You've never been rescued before? I asked quietly one evening as we sat by a glowing lagoon. No, she admitted. Her golden eyes reflected the neon water, and I could see the weariness of years in their depth. I've always been on my own. I thought no one would care. You're wrong, I said softly. Someone cares now. Her lips twitched in what might have been a smile. A human. Yes, I confirmed. And I will. You're not alone anymore. It wasn't long before the local Elythrian patrols noticed my presence. Their first encounter with me had been cautious, then curious, and finally concerned. Humans weren't common here, and seeing one carrying a tiny alien drew attention quickly. The patrol leader, a tall, elegant Elythrian with shifting azure patterns across her skin, approached. "Why is this child in your care?" she demanded, her voice firm but not hostile. "She was in danger," I said simply. "I saved her from drowning." The patrol leader's eyes flicked toward Lyra. She assessed her carefully, then back to me. "This child has always been ignored. You acted when none of us did. Why?" I shrugged again. "Because someone had to. That's all. It shouldn't take much more than noticing." There was a pause, then the patrol leader nodded slowly. "Then she will remain with you until she can return safely. But be warned, your actions will be observed." Lyra looked at me, and I could see the relief in her glowing eyes. "You protected me," she whispered. "Yes," I said. "And I will continue to." Over the following weeks, I helped Lyra learn to trust again. Simple gestures, a shared meal, a gentle laugh, time spent exploring the glowing forest, began to restore something she had lost long ago: confidence in herself. She began to move more freely, her body less tense, her glow brighter. One day, while exploring a crystalline waterfall, she paused mid-step. "Elias," she said. "Yes. I've never been told I was important. Not by anyone. Not ever." "You are," I said. "You matter. Your life matters. You survived today because of courage, and because someone chose to see you. That's worth everything." Her golden eyes shimmered as tears spilled down her cheeks. I never thought I would be seen like that." "You are," I reassured her. "And from now on you always will be." Her lips curved into a genuine smile, radiant and fragile. The forest around us pulsed with life, but it was her glow that caught my attention. For the first time, Lyra seemed at peace, no longer a tiny shadow hiding from the world. It wasn't long before the Elythrian Council recognized the significance of what had happened. Lyra's survival, previously thought impossible for her frail kind, was now a testament to human intervention. It was rare for a member of her species to be saved by an outsider, and rarer still for that outsider to act purely out of compassion. They called a council meeting to formally discuss her return. I accompanied Lyra, and together we entered the grand chamber, filled with Elythrian leaders and elders. All eyes turned to her, the small, delicate alien who had once been ignored, and then to me, the human who had intervened. One elder spoke first. "This child, she should not have survived the trials of her youth." I stepped forward. "She did survive. Because someone cared. Because someone acted when no one else did." Another elder's skin shimmered with curiosity. "You risked yourself for her?" "Yes," I said. "Because it was the right thing to do." The council fell silent. There was no malice, only realization. A human had acted where they had failed, and in doing so, changed the life of one tiny alien, and perhaps the perception of humanity itself. Lyra, standing beside me, looked stronger than I had ever seen her. Her glow radiated from within, brighter than the neon flora around us. For the first time, she wasn't just alive. She was seen, recognized, and valued. The council's decision was swift. Lyra would remain under protective supervision until she was fully integrated into her society, with humans recognized as allies and partners in safeguarding vulnerable individuals. As we left the chamber, Lyra looked up at me. "Thank you, Elias," she whispered. "You don't have to thank me," I said. "Just promise me you'll always believe that someone will care. That's what matters most." Her golden eyes sparkled, and I knew she would. Years later, when historians recounted the first human interventions on Elithra 7, they would describe a tiny alien whose life hung in the balance, and a human who didn't hesitate. They would tell of courage, compassion, and the HFY principle in action, that even small acts of humanity can ripple across worlds, changing lives in ways impossible to measure. Lyra thrived, growing into a confident, radiant member of her species. She never forgot the human who saved her, the one who taught her that someone's presence, even a stranger, can illuminate a life previously in darkness. And I never forgot her either. Because that day, a tiny alien's life hung in the balance, and a human chose to intervene. That choice made all the difference.